Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Got a bunch of people pouring in. Hello, Mr. Munding, Mr. Bittner, Mr. Hoff, Mr. Wolf, Miss Ramos, Miss Julie, Miss McClung. Hello, Miss O'Neill. All right. Mr. Reinstein. That sounds funny. What's up, Stephen? Oh, I just got back from Cruz's holiday show, toddler class. It was basically like herding cats into a pool, but it was super adorable and cute. One of the reasons why I love being an entrepreneur, being able to come and go as we please. Is today anybody's like official last work day? I know a lot of schools are closing next week. Miss Ramos is like, yep, I'm out. That's it. I'm done. We are open for one more week, and then we are shutting down the week between Christmas and the New Year's. All right, guys, we're gonna give it about another minute or so. Thank you so much for popping in. This was one of our biggest registrations for a webinar. We had almost 200 people register. Not everybody obviously will show up, but super excited you guys are here live. We have some bonuses that you're going to get for being on here live that I'm really excited to share with you. So I'll be dropping the links in the chat. So just once we get there, be prepared to open that up. Might be difficult if you're on a phone to access these files. So ideally to be on a laptop to access would be great. Just real quick, you guys know I like engagement in the chat. Where's everybody from? I'll kick it off. Tampa, Florida. It's in the 60s today, which is Arizona. Very cold for us. Arizona. All right. Oh, we got some New Yorkers. I like it. Actually just wrapped up an interview with somebody that was born and raised in the Bronx. She came in this morning. We are getting ready to add 3 new people. Hello, Jay. Nice to see you. Awesome. All right. So I get to talk about 2 of my favorite things today, martial arts and marketing. And we do have the one and only Steven Reinstein on here, who owns Market Muscles and Pulse, who, I might be leaning on him a couple of questions when we get to the website portion. And Steven says, send some snow to Virginia. Oh, I don't know how you guys do that. Miss Jilly, we know what's up here in Florida. I don't have to worry about that. All right, guys, you are going to want to get a pen and a paper. There are going to be a couple activities that we're going to do. This is a workshop. In a workshop, you have to do work. So we've already put aside an hour and a half for this training. So let's get some of the work done while we're here together. It's one of my kind of favorite ways of teaching is immediately putting things in action. Obviously, for those of you that are driving, would not suggest doing that, but you will get the recording later on today. So let me go ahead. Let's dive right in. And I know we have some more people popping in. So can you guys just give me a thumbs up if you can see my keynote? Are we good? Awesome. All right. Let me get my participants in my chat. So as people come in, they will be able to see. All right, if you guys are ready, drop a 1 in the chat. If we get enough 1s, then I'll kick it off. You guys are going to be active in there, so get your fingers ready to rock and roll. Oh man, they're still pouring in. Okay, cool, let's do it. So, got to have an agenda, right? By the end of today's session, this is what you are going to be walking away with. First, we're going to set clear goals and targets for the upcoming year. And we're going to do this predominantly on the recruiting side of your martial arts school. We're then going to unpack the 2023 marketing plan workbook. So this is a file that I created. It's a Google document that I will give you access to. So you're going to want to definitely pull that up. and work through that as we go. I'm going to give you guys access to the R3 scorecard tracking sheet. If you've been to any of my trainings, you know I always say math is the path. We want to make data-driven decisions. So I'm going to give you a file that's going to help you track all of your recruiting, all of your retention, and all of your revenue going into the new year. I'm going to talk about your 2023 marketing strategy through the accelerated growth model. So there's kind of 9 aspects of your marketing that you absolutely need to have in place going into the new year. And then, this is what everybody wants to know, the shiny object stuff. What is new in 2023? So been doing a lot of research. Obviously we run ads for almost 325 clients right now. And we have a lot of data. We see what's working. We're in masterminds with digital marketing agencies, so we know, what these trends look like. So I'm really excited to share that with you. But at the end of the day, you got to get your accelerated growth model in place first, right? I'm not going to teach my student how to do a flying armbar before I teach them how to do a regular armbar, right? We're not going to teach a Superman punch before they know how to properly throw a cross. So we got to get savagely good at the basics. And then once you have those in place, you can start considering what these new trends are, okay? For those of you that don't know, Cris Rodriguez, I founded GrowPro Agency about 3.5 years ago. I'm also a school owner, just like you. I own Gracie Hack MMA, located in Tampa, Florida. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary a couple of months ago, which is really awesome. I'm also Maya's digital marketing consultant, Martial Arts Industry Association. If you're looking for some travel in 2023, we do have our next event in March in Orlando. All systems go. So for those of you that are local to Florida, that's a quick car ride. For everybody else, hop a plane, come hang out with us. I wrote a book, The Best Known Dojo. If you don't have this book, you can grab it on Amazon. It is a bestseller, if I must say so myself. Not New York Times, not yet. Podcast host, a 7-figure CEO. I'm constantly speaking across the United States, lots of articles in the Martial Arts Success magazine, and have managed over $5 million in paid ads in martial arts schools. My company, GrowPro, this is what we do. We do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, social media management, Google business profile optimization, database reactivation. If you're hearing some of this lingo and you're like, I don't even know what that is, we're going to unpack that. We do live lead follow-up with our concierge agent program. We're spending about $200,000 a month just on Facebook. Got 22 team members. And our mission, the entire reason why GrowPro exists, is to give martial arts school owners the freedom to do what they love. We didn't open up our martial arts school because we want to be dealing with Facebook's business manager, ads manager, doing, TikTok ads. We did it because we wanted to impact people in our community through training in the martial arts. And our goal is to kind of take those stresses off of your plate so that you can focus on the things that you truly love to do. We have a bunch of success stories on our website, and we've got some of these people on the call today. We got Miss Ramos on the call. We got the Pendergrasses. We got Mr. Munding, which is super awesome. And this is what we do 24/7, 365. We have an in-person agency model. I believe we're the only one in the industry that's crazy enough to have an in-person. I know Market Muscle's website company, so they do something a little bit different. They also have an in-person model. And I'm not going to speak for Stephen, but I think he would agree that the reason why we have that model, it would be very easy for us to go complete remote, and it would actually be a lot more profitable. We wouldn't have to pay rent and utilities and buy supplies and things like that. But I truly believe it allows us to offer a higher level of customer service when we have an in-person environment, and it allows us to build our culture that we can then share with our clients. Okay, so go ahead, and I'm going to drop this link because you're going to need to refer to this workbook. I'm going to drop this in the chat right now. Everyone in meeting, boom. And go ahead and click on that. And what you're going to want to do is once it opens, you're going to want to go File, make a copy, and then save it to your drive. Okay, you got to make sure you're doing this step down here. File, make a copy, and then save it to your drive. All right, so I'll give everybody a second to do that. Still have some people pouring in. Once you have that file, if you want to just put done in the chat so I know. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Awesome. There we go. For those of you that are just entering, you're going to go ahead and grab that link and grab your 2023 marketing plan workbook. Okay. And throughout this, as we have more people enter, I'll continue dropping that link so they have access to it. Okay. So, perfect. All right, here we go, guys. 5 principles to a massive 2023. Okay. One of my favorite quotes that I heard from Mr. Shane Tossell, he's one of Maya's lead consultants, was a full calendar equals a full mat, and a full mat equals a full bank account. All right, I'm going to say that one more time, and I would write this down. This is a principle that you and all your team need to be taking into the new year. Okay, a full calendar equals a full mat equals a full bank account. You have to understand that the cash flow in your business follows your calendar. And the last thing that we're going to wrap up today is I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step process that you need to implement to prepare your marketing calendar for 2023. Most school owners have an event calendar. You have dates where your parent night out event is, where your graduation ceremonies are, when your day camps are. But the big mistake that most business owners make is they do not put the marketing actions that need to be implemented in order for those events to be successful on their calendar. And I know we've all been there. It's a Monday and we realize, oh man, our parent night out is this Friday. We didn't print 4x4s. We didn't send emails out. We haven't been doing mat chats and hitting all of these different marketing actions to make sure that that event is successful. Cash flow follows your calendar. And going into 2023, you need to make sure you have a full calendar, not just with the events that we'll get into, but also with your marketing actions. So principle number 1, cash flow follows your calendar. Principle number 2, think once, plan once, and execute once. Ideally, we want to put our academy on rails. I know that prior to implementing some of these principles and strategies that we are going over, I would always have this feeling like we're constantly playing catch up. And one of the things that I learned that the better way to do it is to take a day or 2 days, either with yourself or with your team, and get everything planned out for the new year so that you can put your business on rails. And then when these dates come and these actions need to be implemented, we don't even need to think about it. All right. I want you to kind of think of podcasts, right? Oftentimes when people are filming and producing podcasts or even content, they batch it. Instead of trying to do, most of you are probably in my martial arts entrepreneurs group. I put a piece of content out every single Monday to Friday. Shout out to George Wolf because he's been crushing the content game as well. Mr. Wolf is one of our Maya clients. But it would be very difficult for me to just on a daily basis try to think up and come up with that content. So I batch it. I sit down one time during the week and I create all of that content that will be posted the next week. And that's what I want you to think of with your calendar as well. And with your business, we're going to think once and then we're going to execute. Okay. Number 3, we have to make sure we are milestoning the money-making activities. All right. Oftentimes, there are lots of different hats that we wear in our martial arts school. And when you're first getting started, it's, very normal and natural to wear a lot of those hats. But as you start to scale and as you start to grow, you're going to need to start delegating those items And ultimately, what you need to be focusing on is revenue generating activities. When I was first building GrowPro and I started hiring some of my first team members, I found myself spending time in activities that were not revenue generating. So as a reminder, what I did is I went ahead and I put a note on my desk that said, are you doing revenue generating activities? Okay. So we want to make sure that us as the CEOs, as the business owners, that we are focusing on what I like to call rocks. Okay. If you have heard the rocks, pebbles, and sand story before, can you either just put yes or no in the chat? Yes or no? All right, I see a lot of yeses. Awesome. So basically, we all have the same amount of time, right? Time is something that it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, it doesn't matter where you're born. We all only have 24 hours in a day. So how is it that some people can get so much more done within that 24-hour period than others? Okay. And it's oftentimes because if we look at time as like a jar or a cup, most often it gets filled with what we call the sand and the pebbles, the kind of day-to-day distractions, the Netflix, the interruptions. For business owners and team members, it's those kind of constant distractions that are coming in, and we don't put enough time and effort to focus on the big rocks. Okay. And you can look at this from a business perspective or a personal perspective. In our personal life, to me, big rocks are the things that matter the most. So what is that? Right? You hear business owners say all the time, entrepreneurs say all the time, my why is my family, but they're not spending any time with their family. We want to make sure we're filling our jar up with the most important aspects in our life first, right? Our health, our fitness, our wellness, our relationships. So we put those rocks in there first, and then we can start adding the pebbles and the sand. But if you put all of the distractions and the Netflix and the, I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do first, it fills up your jar with sand and pebbles, and there's no rooms for rocks. So we actually have a term that we use in our companies called rocks. And these are 90-day projects. And these are projects that we commit to do that moves us forward. And they're often money-making projects that help to move us forward. Okay, so you've got to milestone the money-making activities. So next up, once you have done the calendar, and that's going to be the last step that we do, you need to do a stress test. Okay. When you're looking at your marketing calendar and your event calendar for 2023, you need to ask yourself, is this going to generate results, but also not give me gray hair or have me lose my hair? You've got to ask yourself, can I keep up with the volume that has been put on this calendar? If I did all of this, would my team and I be able to keep up? And a lot of that is going to have to do with the capacity and the bandwidth that you have and that your team has. So you got to make sure you do a stress test once the calendar has been laid out. And then finally, we got to work the plan. And when we work the plan, we need to work a plan like a racehorse with blinders on. Whatever you say, this is what we are committing to. We've got to make sure that when these shiny objects start coming in, we have those blinders on and we commit to work the plan that we put in place. Okay. So those are your 5 principles with going into 2023. Remember, cash flow follows your calendar. We're going to plan this once. We're going to think once so that we can just execute when we get into the new year. This is one of the reasons why I really like getting this plan in place prior to the holidays, right? Come Friday the 23rd, most business owners, entrepreneurs shut off. I know some of you are even like, today is your last day that you are open for the rest of the year. So I love getting this done before that kicks in, because I completely understand that you've got to, you got to have time to sharpen the axe. We want to make sure that we are milestoning the money-making activities, got to do a stress test on this calendar, and then finally, we're going to work the plan. Okay, so let's get into your 4 action steps for 2023. Okay, so number 1, we are going to set clear goals. And I know everybody hears this, you've got to set goals, right? Your goals, however, are something that need to be revisited. In my opinion, they need to be revisited on a weekly basis, and you need to have a system in place to ensure that that happens. For us, and I know Steven's company does this, I know there's quite a few Maya clients and 18 clients that are on the call that have implemented EOS, which is called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And inside of EOS, they have something called a level 10 meeting. And this level 10 meeting is a meeting that happens every single week. We joke in our company that the only reason why you miss the meeting is because you're dead. And these meetings are built around the ability for us to check in on the goals that we set at the beginning of the year, okay? So your goals absolutely need to be specific, but they need to be backed by data. So often when I ask a school owner, like, right, they're like, okay, you know, we were averaging $30,000 a month in 2022, and now in 2023, we want to be averaging $60,000 a month. All right, that's 100% growth. And for some people, that if you have the bandwidth, if you have the team to be able to do that, it is possible. But for most, that is going to be a very, very difficult goal to hit. So what I prefer is to look back on the goals that you did hit, on the numbers that you did hit in 2022, and use that as a base to set your numbers for 2023. Another big mistake that I see school owners make is comparing a January to a February, or a February to a March, or a March into an April. Every industry has ebbs and flows. And in our martial arts industry, there are really 3 times during the year that you have to go pedal to the metal with your marketing. And it's because most people make lifestyle shifts during these 3 times during the year. And it's going into summer, coming out of summer, and the third one going into the new year. Guess what, guys? We're getting ready to go into the new year. And every year, like clockwork, it starts like probably 2 weeks ago, and it'll go all the way into the end of the week. We are booking so many marketing audits because school owners know that they need to take advantage of the new year, okay? You should not be comparing your March to your April. You should be comparing your March of 2021 to your March of 2022 to your March of 2023. So we could do an entire training just on tracking numbers, but the ones that you absolutely need to be tracking in order to improve your recruitment, right? Your enrollments, you're getting new students. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's ego. And I know that Mr. Wolf had put a post about this, I think earlier this week, about not hitting an active count goal, but hitting their revenue goal. Guys, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to hit the active count, the number of students that you set, or would you rather hit your revenue goal, right? One is like, one of my favorite quotes is, gross feeds the ego, net feeds the family. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Gross feeds the ego, net feeds the family. An active count is something that for whatever reason in our industry, we like to like beat our chest that this is our active count. However, I know schools that have a 300 active count that make less money than a school that has 150 active count, okay? So again, we could do an entire training just on tracking your numbers, but these are the 8 that I want you to keep in mind. And you're gonna have a little bit of homework, which is why I gave you that workbook. But you need to look back on 2022 and look at the snapshot of what was your average active count, what was your average monthly revenue, your average student signups, your attrition. I think attrition is one of like the most unsexy topics, right? Retention and attrition. And it's something that not a lot of school owners focus on. And it's because when they get a new student, what's the next thing they want to do? They want to go get another new student, and then another new student, and then another new student. And we oftentimes have a budget for marketing for getting new students, but what's your budget for marketing for retaining your students? There's this misconception that marketing only has to do with getting new people in your door. Guys, guess what? After every class, every single time a student steps in your building, you've got to market them to inspire them to come back their next class. Okay, so you've got to be tracking your attrition. What is the percentage of students that you're losing month after month? Your student value. What is the worth of every student based off of the revenue and the active count that we have? And then 3 of the most important ratios that I very rarely see school owners track is your lead to appointment ratio, your appointment to show ratio, and your show to close ratio. And when you know these numbers, it's going to allow you to help your team on filling the holes in the buckets, right? Maybe you're getting 50 leads a month, but you're only booking 10 of those appointments. You know what that tells me? That tells me you're not calling within 5 minutes. That tells me that you are not probably leveraging text message and email automations, and you're probably only calling people once. And then after you call them once, that lead goes into the black hole where all the other thousands of leads are, because you just have so much on your plate that you're not consistently following up. All right. So these are ratios that if you have been tracking, I'm going to give you an internet high five because that is awesome. But if you haven't been tracking these, you need to know these numbers. Okay. So inside of your workbook, and for some of you, if you've already done this, I know some of you have already met with your team and laid these goals out, but I want you to set your goal for each one of these lines. Okay. What is the active count goal by December 31, 2023? So a year from now, what is your active count goal going to be? What's the average monthly revenue, the average number of students you want to enroll? What's your attrition at? Guys, I know schools that if they are able to go from a 5% attrition down to a 4% attrition, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars in revenue that is coming in just by improving that by 1%. Okay, so you need to put this on paper. It needs to be something that is revisited on a weekly basis, not a monthly basis, not on a quarterly basis. When you look at this at a weekly basis, if anything is off track, it allows you to adjust the sales. So if you're tracking this and you're meeting with your team and you notice that your lead to appointment ratio is at a 30%, that means your team needs to be hitting the phones, hitting the texts, hitting the emails, and consistently following up to bring that ratio up. And this is why I always say math is the path. Now, I wanted to make this super simple for you guys. And I actually did a webinar with Mr. Mike Metzger a few months ago, where we dove into this scorecard. It was one of our most popular webinars. It lives on our GrowPro agency website. So if tracking is something that you are struggling with in terms of recruiting, retention, and revenue, then I would go check that webinar out. But I wanted to give everybody access to this R3 scorecard. And what is super cool about it is that all of the formulas are built in to this scorecard. All right. So it's basically as you plug numbers in, the formulas will automatically populate for you. So this is what it looks like. For those of you that were on that webinar, you already have access to it, which is awesome. We have a key that explains how to use each one of these spreadsheets. You have your recruiting scorecard. You have your retention scorecard, which will pop out your attrition rate. So for those of you that aren't great at math, you don't have to do any math. You just have to plug in your accurate numbers, okay? And then you have your revenue scorecard. And as you enter items in this, it will automatically update the formulas inside. So for your recruiting, if you're tracking how many leads came in and you plug it into the spreadsheet, your totals and your percentages at the bottom will automatically update. Okay. So for those of you that have been struggling with tracking your numbers, this is literally a plug and play item for you. It's something that I put together. This is my gift to you because I want you making data-driven decisions. All right. You're going to need to do the same thing that you did with the marketing workbook. You're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Make a Copy. And then this way, this lives in your Google Drive, and then you'll be able to edit it. I believe it's completely locked, so you're not going to be able to edit it. So again, you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Make a Copy. I'll drop the link in one more time. And now you guys can go into 2023 with a tracking mechanism so that you can make better driven decisions. All right. If you guys like that, drop a 1 in the comments, and we're going to dive into your 2023 marketing strategy. Awesome. All right, guys. So there are 3 aspects of your marketing in your martial arts school that need to be front and center. We got to drive leads, we've got to maximize conversion, and we've got to optimize results. And for me, I'm really a visual person. So I put this together on this keynote, and we're going to hit all 3 aspects of driving leads. What are the best ways for you to drive leads? What are the best ways for you to maximize conversions? And how can you optimize results, If I'm able to get a $10 lead and turn that $10 lead into a $5 lead, I was just able to double my lead count. All right. So we're going to dive into each one of these. And in your workbook, this is important. So have your workbook up. You are going to answer the question yes or no, whether or not you have this in place. And anything that has a no, I want you to circle it. I want you to star it or make a note that is something that needs to be implemented prior to all of these other top trends that I'm going to be going over towards the end of this webinar. Okay, so let's kick it off with driving leads. How can you drive leads? So the first way is organic social media. So you'll notice inside of your workbook, it's going to ask you these questions. Are you active on social media? Does your business have profiles set up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok? Okay. Are you getting engagement on these platforms? Are you getting engagement on these platforms? Mr. Hogue, I'll drop the link again in there for you, sir. There you go. And what do I mean by engagement? Are people liking? Are they hearting? Are they sharing? Are they commenting? Okay. One of the most difficult changes that occurred a few years ago is when Facebook shifted their focus into building communities. And when they came out and did that, this is when groups really took off, when Facebook groups just skyrocketed. But when that happened, what Facebook did is they pulled your reach from your business page. Okay. So when you post something on your business page, less than 10% of your followers actually see it. And this is why, like 10 years ago, you could post something organically and not even have to boost it. And you could even sell trials from that or get a ton of comments. But Facebook has limited real estate on their timeline. And they want to show things to their consumers that fall in line with that mission statement of theirs to build a community. One of the things that you can do to help you get better engagement on these platforms is, one, having you and your team engage. And I was talking to Steven about this last night. So as a side note, I've never done this as a marketer before because it feels dirty to me, but it works. Okay. You see this all the times. Marketers will put a post. I just created the XYZ to sign up 90 new students in 90 days. If you want it, comment yes below. How many of you ever seen those posts from whether they're consultants, marketing companies? And my thought is, why don't you just put the damn link in the post itself? Well, the reason why they do that is because every time somebody says yes or comments on the word that they said to comment below, that shows the algorithm that people really like this post. And then guess what happens? That post gets out in front of more people. All right. So I did it for this webinar, and this is, I think, is my highest participation. I got to screenshot this because I got 100 people on here. Everybody smile. Jeez. There we go. Great smile, Stephen. So I actually did it for this particular webinar, and it's just because it does work, guys, okay? With your organic, we are seeing organic reach higher on Instagram and TikTok through short video content. And for most school owners, tell you what, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 meaning don't you ever put a camera in front of my face and expect me to say anything on it, and a 5 being like, give me all the cameras in the world, hit the record button. What are you? 1 to 5. All right, got some 3s and 4s. I like it. I see a 5, 3.99. That's very specific. I love it. And you know, I completely understand. Usually it has to do with just like a confidence and comfortability level, right? And how do you get better at something? Well, you just have to do it. And I'm not saying it needs to be you as the school owner, but somebody on your team needs to feel comfortable being in front of a camera. It's not going anywhere. And what we're seeing is, you know, if you are taking the time and effort to produce content organically, meaning you're not putting money behind it, what is going to give you the most, you know, kind of bang for your time is going to be short video content on Instagram Reels and on TikTok, okay? And for me, that really helps to separate you and make you different than other businesses, because a lot of businesses just aren't willing to do that, okay? So you got to just ask yourself and be honest with yourself, right? Am I active on social media? Well, Chris, if I'm not getting engagement, you know, what's the point of posting? Well, the point of posting is to show that you're still relevant. So if you are running ads and somebody clicks on your page and goes to your page, we don't want to see that the last time you posted was 3 years ago, okay? And you want to make sure that you're just updating your social profiles on a consistent basis. Guys, I think 3 times a week is like the minimum that I would tell you to do, all right? And I think it's something that whether you're using like a social media planner like Maya Edge puts out, or you're curating your own content, I feel like 3 times a week is something that all of us can achieve, okay? So just answer those questions in the workbook. Yes, no, where am I gonna need to do a little bit more focus, okay? Next ad is paid ads, right? So the next aspect of driving leads are your paid ads. And are you taking advantage of paid online marketing? Are you running targeted Facebook ads to your ideal prospect base? Are you running TikTok ads? So TikTok is a fairly new platform in terms of running ads. Guys, I'm here to tell you that it's not just a bunch of kids, all right? Like, it's people our age that are on there as well. And what we have found in terms of TikTok is that community events are actually performing a lot better than, let's say, book a one-on-one or, you know, buy a paid trial. Okay, so we run TikTok ads for our clients, and the ones that are doing the community events are the ones that are performing the best. Are you running Google search ads? Are you running Google Performance Max ads? And are you running retargeting ads to your unconverted leads? Okay. I said this, I think, on one of the trainings that I was on a few weeks ago, but every kind of towards the end of November, we get a ton of pause requests at GrowPro. And their thought is, well, nobody's looking for martial arts, and, you know, we're going to be closed, so just shut off our ads. And it really reminds me of when COVID hit back in March of 2020. What did all of us do as business owners? We all went to our budget sheet and we said, what can I cut? And during a recession, during a time of scare, quote unquote, one of the first things that people cut is their marketing. And for me, if that's what everybody else is doing, then I'm going to go a complete 180 and I'm going to go all in, because if everybody else is cutting their marketing, well, I can actually take advantage that the marketplace isn't going to be as full. And those 3 times during the year that you've got to make sure you're picking it up is now, right? We're going into the new year. So what aspects of paid ads are you doing well at, and what aspects are maybe you need some improvement? And then finally, database building. And in marketing, one of our like marketing 101 practices is that you're always building your list. Okay, you're always building your list. Your list is the one thing that you actually own. Zuckerberg doesn't own it. Google doesn't own it. Elon Musk doesn't own it. Okay, you own your list. And that's something that nobody's ever going to be able to take away from you. So I want you to look back at your contact list, and you should be able to run a report inside of your CRM and see how many new contacts were added over 2022. And for me, kind of the benchmark base that I would love to see for you guys is that your list at least grew by 300 contacts. It would be like 25 contacts a month, okay? The other thing I want to say about building your database is that just because somebody opts in today doesn't mean that they are today buyer. But that also doesn't mean that it's a bad lead or a low quality lead or an unqualified lead, okay? For many of you that became GrowPro clients, you probably started following me months, if not years, prior to pulling the trigger. People do this in your community as well. So just because your list is growing, and let's say you got 30 leads this month, and not all 30 leads are obviously going to convert, that doesn't mean they're bad leads. It means that they're not ready to buy, that we need to nurture them so that when the day does come that they are ready to pull the trigger on coming into your martial arts school, you are in their mental Rolodex. That is the goal, is to be in their mental Rolodex. So before they even go to Google, they're thinking of your martial arts school. And one of the cool things and exercises you can do is look at, the last, let's say, 30 people that signed up in your school. And your CRM should be able to tell you when the first point of contact was. And for some of them, that first point of contact might have been within a few days that they enrolled. But for others, you're going to see, man, these people opted in 3 months ago, 6 months ago. They came to a birthday party a year ago. They came to a mass intro stranger danger community event a year and a half ago. And this is why you always need to be growing your list. The school owner that has 10,000 contacts that sends out a blast email or a blast text or asks, are you still interested in martial arts, is going to get more responses than the school with only 1,000 contacts, okay? So you always need to be growing your list in order to drive more leads into your facility, okay? Next, let's kind of go into website conversions and just maximizing conversions in general. So in your workbook, you have this, and I want you to put like a yes or a no, okay? Does your website speak to your target avatar? Whoever your ideal client is, okay? One of my clients is Joe Lozon. He's a famous UFC fighter, okay? He builds UFC fighters. His avatar is much different than my avatar that is solely focused on kids BJJ. Your website needs to speak directly to that target avatar. You need to have authentic images of your students, of your team throughout the website. Do you have video elements on your website? Are you showcasing your online reviews? This is, I think, one of the biggest ones. Is it easy for them to take action? Is there a place that they can very easily and obviously give me their contact information so that we can reach out? Are there calls to action on each specific page? You should have a program page for your kids. You should have a program page for your adults. If maybe you have a cage fitness or a fitness kickboxing program, okay? You got to have those call to actions that speak to that particular person that's interested in that particular program, okay? Are you giving them an opportunity to engage via chat? So a lot of websites have the ability to put a chat widget on there. I would recommend that if you are going to do that, you need to make sure that somebody is closely monitoring that, because if you're not answering instantly, then you are going, you could potentially lose that prospect because they're not opting in, okay? Do you guys see like a big green squiggly line on my screen, or am I the only one that can? Yeah, somebody's drawing on my screen and I have no idea how they're doing that. It's kind of scary tech, man. All right. And then Tammy said, got frustrated with a bot chat the other day. I know, I get frustrated with them too. And then are you leveraging marketing automation and text message to maximize lead conversion rates. Okay. So these are just some of the things when you're looking at your website that you need to ask and be able to check off. All right. Stephen, can you kind of just talk I'm going to put him on the spot. He asked me for the Zoom link to this webinar earlier today, and I said, only if I can put you on the spot. And he doesn't really like it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Stephen, you deal with a lot of school owners, really just all martial arts school owners. That's your niche as well as ours, that are looking to level up their website. And one of the kind of feedback that I get sometimes is they think that it's this like huge to-do, huge project that is so kind of difficult to, undertake. Can you just kind of talk about what does that process look like? And, I'm pretty sure everything on this checklist is something that you guys do offer for Market Muscles clients. So you can just touch on that for a second.
Yeah, no, everything on that list was great because I'm constantly looking to see what makes a website convert at a higher percentage. I did a presentation a couple months ago that talked a little bit about conversions and how your website should be optimized for conversions. And in that presentation, I did a breakdown of numbers. So typical, our websites typically see about a 5% conversion rate. And then websites that are not really optimized typically see like a 1 to 2% conversion rate. And when I was kind of looking at our clients, the ones that are converting at a 5% conversion rate, it was pretty much everything that you had on that list: the use of videos, the use of real reviews, really good content, utilizing their blog, all the different things that you kind of mentioned there. And there's big differences between a 2% conversion rate and a 5% conversion rate. So just to put that just put that in dollars, right? So if you have 1,000 people coming to your website and only 2% of them are converting, that would be 20 new leads. And if you are able to get 20% of those 20 leads, that'd be 4 new students. So that's roughly $600 of monthly recurring revenue. Now, if you're doing 5%, right? So same number, 1,000 website visitors, 5% of those people are converting, that's 50 leads. And then you convert 20% of those into new students, that's 10 new students, that's $1,500 of monthly recurring revenue. So just by making those small tweaks to your website, you're seeing a huge boost in the amount of money that you're making, without having to drive additional traffic or anything like that. So it's just based on making those changes to your website. But we actually have an annual report coming out where we looked at all of our clients. We've got, I think it's over 800 clients, and we sorted by who's producing the most leads. And we're going to be putting that result out. So that way you guys are able to look yourselves and see what these people are doing on their websites and why they're converting at such a high percentage.
I love it. Can't wait to see that. Guys, often, when we do marketing audits, we audit people's websites, and, there's some websites that are kind of stuck in the, 90s and early 2000s. They're not mobile optimized. The fonts are all over the place. It's really hard to, get contact information from people. To me, unless you went to school to build websites, unless it's something you're just super passionate about, it's something that needs to be outsourced. It's like, to me, it's like your bookkeeping and your accounting. Unless you're an accountant, that's not your zone of genius. And as a business owner, you are now stuck doing things that aren't in your zone of genius and that are probably really frustrating. Okay. So definitely want to make sure that you are leaning in on those resources that we have in the industry, because they're the experts. This is what they do, right? 800 websites solely for martial arts schools. Thank you so much for sharing that, Stephen. Let's kind of dive into one other aspect of your website, which has to do with your SEO, your search engine optimization. So this is how your listing gets shown higher on Google. When somebody types in martial arts in your area, you got to make sure. And, this is something that, if you're not sure and you are using a company like Market Muscles, you can reach out to them, and, I'm 99.9% sure they're doing all of these things. But if you're not using a company like them, then you need to ask whoever is your web developer, do we have keywords in our title tag on every page on our website? Do we have pages for every single one of those core programs? Is there unique content on our website? Does our website come up for, what I would consider the most important keywords, which is martial arts in your city? And that doesn't just have to do with your website. It also has to do with your Google business profile, which we're going to talk about in a second. And are you consistently creating new content by blogging on your website as well? And if you don't have a blog, then you can't even do those items. Okay. So let's talk about what also feeds into your SEO. It's your Google business profile. Okay. So your Google business profile, it used to be known as Google My Business. Before Google My Business, it was Google Plus. And they've made a lot of changes to how you can access your Google business profile. Before, you could go to business.google.com, you could edit it. What they're really trying to push people to do is to edit their business profiles directly from the search page. So now, as long as you're logged into the Gmail account that's associated with your Google business profile, you can edit it right there on Google's search engine results page. So you got to claim and you got to verify your Google business profile. Now, back in the day, Google would have to send you a postcard, like a snail mail postcard, in order for you to be able to verify that your business is there. They've kind of stepped into, the 21st century, and they can do it by text message now, which is much, much faster. Okay. You've got to have it optimized. I've done trainings that live on our webinars page at Grow Pro Agency on how to optimize your Google business profile. So if you haven't done that, meaning utilizing specific keywords in your about section, updating your photos, making sure that your hours are accurate, all of these ways to optimize your profile, you need to do that. Okay. We also want to make sure that we are posting on our Google business profile weekly. Most people don't even know that you can post on Google business the same way that you can post on Facebook. And that actually, the more you do that and the more keywords that you infuse into that post, it can help your profile show up higher when people are in the vicinity of your school and searching for your business. Okay. So this is huge, guys. I think this is one of the most untapped marketing resources that school owners do not stay on top of. And this is something that, on a minimum of a quarterly basis, you need to be going in, you need to be updating your offers, you need to be posting new pictures in there. And on a weekly basis, you need to be posting. Okay. That also brings us into reputation management. So a huge part of whether or not you are going to showcase high on Google are your Google reviews. All right. And, 10, 15 years ago, people didn't trust them. Today, they trust Google reviews just like they trust their best friend. Let me ask, if you guys in the comments, how many online Google reviews do you have? What is your number? How many Google reviews do you have? We got 45, 107, 83, 179. Awesome. I think we're at 230. Miss Tammy says less than I should. 8, 101. Mr. Bittner, not enough. Yeah, to me, guys, there's like never enough. But the benchmark that I would aim for, Steven, do you know how that's happening? I have no idea. Do you know?
This is the first time I've seen this.
Yeah. Well, at least it's that and not like inappropriate pictures or something. So you need to be aiming for triple-digit Google reviews. And again, I have multiple webinars on the exact step. And guys, this is all free stuff. If you haven't noticed, I give a lot of free stuff away. This is, to me, just kind of putting it in the karma bucket. I want my free stuff to be better than stuff that other people in the industry charge for. One of the aspects that's really important, though, is that you have to respond. And one of the changes that Google recently made is that you need to respond within 48 hours in order for SEO to improve from those Google reviews. So I'm putting I'm giving you guys a timer. The second you see a review, you need to make sure that you are responding, whether it's good or whether it's not so good. And you got to ask yourself, do you have a proactive strategy for getting new online reviews every day? COVID did us a favor by making the QR code popular again, guys. And if you don't have a QR code in your school to get Google reviews, it's one of the easiest things that you can do. If you have stalls in the bathroom, Put it on the stall when people are sitting there. Every time they go to the bathroom, they're going to see that, okay? You want to make it super simple for people to be able to do that. There's ways, and again, I've got multiple webinars on how to do it, but you've got to have a strategy in place. One of the things that Google local service ads, which martial arts schools are not considered, like we can't run local service ads, we can run search ads, but local service ads are more for like HVAC companies, plumbing companies, cleaning companies. And what they have is they actually have badges for the companies that have the most reviews in the area. So it will say like #1 highest reviews in plumbing in Tampa. They get a little badge added to their Google business profile. And potentially one day this might get released in the martial arts, and you might as well get a kickstart on all of your competitions. Okay. So it's not just about getting those reviews. I think most people do a good job, like at a graduation ceremony, making an announcement. We have ours tomorrow, and I will be making an announcement about, the best way to say thank you is a referral. Second best way is to review us. But you need to have it consistent. There needs to be a system for it to be consistent. All right. So that's your reputation management. Next up, automation. Are you leveraging email and marketing automation? Are you following up with your leads within 5 minutes or less? Are you doing the trifecta? Phone call, text message, email. And are you following up at least 7 times? We've all heard the statement, fortune is in the follow-up. You got to follow up, okay? Do you have a growing database with your customers' email addresses and phone numbers? Okay, we need both. Are you sending out monthly database reactivation campaigns? So what a monthly database reactivation campaign would be is utilizing the holidays to disguise the repetition of marketing, right? So one of our programs called the Online Dominance Complete program, we actually set this up for our clients, and we have a 3-part email, 2-part text message sequence that goes out to their cold leads to try to reactivate them, okay? And it's done automatically, okay? And then are you leveraging email to get those online reviews and to draw customers into your social media profiles, okay? One of my favorite things to do is in an email signature, and most of us have email signatures, using your email signature to have call to actions to direct people either to your website, either to your offer, if you have a Facebook group. And what's so great about this is you just set it up once, right? That's done. So anytime I'm sending an email, I have this signature. You want to book a free marketing audit? You want to join our Facebook group? You want to buy my book, right? So think of the call to actions that you guys have. Maybe you offer a free one-on-one. Maybe you want them to follow you on Instagram or Facebook. Maybe you want them to, go to your website. So when you have your Facebook pixel on your website and it tracks them, the next time they go on Facebook, they're going to see your ad. Okay. Very, very simple thing that you can literally implement immediately and draw call to actions. And this does not feel salesy because it's in the postscript. Okay. Very simple to do. Last part, talking about optimizing results. Okay. And anytime that you are, one of my favorite quotes is what gets measured gets improved. Okay. If you start working with a personal trainer and your ultimate goal is to lose 10 pounds, what are they going to start having you do? They're going to start having you track your weight. They're probably going to take your measurements. They're going to have you start tracking your macros, probably with something like a MyFitnessPal, so you can keep track of all of those calories. It's the same thing in our business. If we want something to get improved, it has to be measured. So I gave you guys that scorecard already, but you need to make sure that you're using it. That's got to be something that's done on a daily basis. The way that we implement it is my program director has to put an EOD, an end of day, and that end of day has all of those numbers and she plugs it into the spreadsheet. So now I can go in, look at the spreadsheet, and I can see what our ratios are. I did a post earlier this week in the Martial Arts Entrepreneurs group about CAC and LTV, customer acquisition costs and the lifetime value. these are two numbers that I would strongly suggest to figure out what they were for you in 2022. Your customer acquisition cost is just going to be how much you spent on marketing. And I mean like all marketing. So paid ads, if you printed rat cards, if you did an every door direct mailer, if you donated $500 to the PTO so you can have a banner in their car rider line pickup, right? And then how many people you enrolled. That's going to give you your customer acquisition costs. And it's going to show you this is how much you are paying to acquire a customer. And obviously, if we can get that number lower, then with the same amount of money, we can acquire more customers. And then I know that Maya had did a study, Martial Arts Industry Association, in regards to the average length that students stay at schools. And at the time that the study was done, it was 9 months. All right. So you need to figure out how, on average, how long are students staying with you? And if we can lower the customer acquisition cost and increase the length of stay, well, there's obviously more money in our bank account. So you need to be tracking this. Okay. The other way to optimize results is what I call budget boost. Okay. And what budget boost is do you know when you need to boost your budget? I already told you the 3 times that needs to happen. All right. And for some of you, depending on even where you live, we have a client in, I think Quebec, and it's like, she was like, there's literally only 1 month out of the year that like people enjoy being outside. So also looking at your data and saying, all right, man, this particular month, July, we are just always low on enrollments. Well, then guess what? You got to boost your budget. Okay. So you've got to know when to put more. Do not go into 2023 and say, our marketing budget is $12,000 for the year. So every single month, I'm just going to put $1,000 to it. Okay. Curious, in the chat, does anybody know what the SBA, Small Business Association, recommends for your marketing, the marketing percentage that you should be spending? So the percentage of your revenue, how much of your revenue, what's the percentage should go to marketing? Yes, man, 3T Karate and Katie and Miss Hamlin, that's it. It's 8 to 10%. Okay, 8 to 10%. So you need to look at what is my monthly revenue, what's 10% of that? And that's really just if you want steady growth. If you're looking for, a skyrocket type of growth, and that number needs to be higher. And then finally, your return on investment. Okay, you should be getting some form of a report or have a dashboard on your CRM that shows your cost per lead, your total spend, and what the projected ROI is, right? And Steven just kind of did those calculations for you based off of your website conversions. Even being able to go from 2% to 5% is going to be a huge increase in return on investment. And the numbers that he gave, that's just 1 month payment. What people don't realize is if you're selling programs like you should not be doing month to month. If you're selling programs, a 12-month program, okay, maybe that first month you made 1,500, but the next month you're going to make another 15, and the next month you're going to make another 15 as well. And I think one of the big mistakes that school owners make is they only look at that first month as their return and not the continuing payments that they're going to get as a return as well. So going through those 9 action steps, right? Driving leads, maximizing conversions, and optimizing results. What are the top 3 action steps that you need to take? Maybe it's your organic social media game. We've been posting once a week. We need to step it up to 3 times. Maybe we've only been doing Facebook ads and we need to start doing Google performance search ads. Maybe we don't have a industry standard website and we need to do a free discovery call with Market Muscles. But what are your top 3 action steps? And I'd love if somebody in the comments, you can just, put one of them. Where's one area that you need to improve on in that checklist that we just went over? So just drop that in the chat. What's kind of the one area? Maybe it's automations, maybe it's Google reviews. Miss Hamlin, thank you. She says reactivation sequence for cold leads. Awesome. Donald and Kara, Google reviews, more Google reviews. Mr. Bolts, Master Bolts, tracking ratios, Google reviews and posting. Awesome. And guys, notice I didn't ask what are the 10 items. Like, what are your top 3? And maybe you do have 10 items on that list that you need to improve. Start with the top 3. All right. reviews and posting, automations and follow-up. All right, I'm seeing, some consistency in where everybody needs to level up. So hopefully that gives you, just just a clearer path going into 2023 of where your focus needs to be. All right. Awesome. Okay. Everybody good? I know we're like an hour in. We've got the last 15. Yeah. We do a little shadow boxing, just a little bit. Come on, everybody. Come on, Miss Ramos. I'm going to make everybody do this until you play along. There we go. All right. There we go. Get the blood flowing. Thank you. Okay. I know this is what everybody wants to know. Stephen and I, at my 7-figure conference, we did a marketing trends keynote, and everybody just wants to know what's the new shiny stuff. All right. And I told you, you need to get the basics that we just went over before you start implementing this new shiny stuff. But these are the marketing trends that I think need to be on your radar going into 2023. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit. I'll just skip over the overview. Let's dive in. All right. Gen Z, Generation Z. Love them or hate them. They are here. And Generation Z is going to continue to influence marketing more than millennials. If you think of kind of buzzwords over the last couple of decades, it's millennials are like this, millennials want this, millennials are this, okay? Well, guess what? It's the Gen Z time now. Gen Z is anybody that's been born between 1995 and 2010. So their ages 13 to 28. Why is this important? Because 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, all the way up to 28, they are starting to build families now, okay? And we've been obsessed with millennials over the past 2 decades. And Gen Z, and guys, obviously this is a blanket statement, right? But Gen Z have different viewpoints and are much more diverse. And they are the future families that are going to be coming into your martial arts school. Also, this also affects us not just from an enrollment standpoint, it also affects your workforce. If you guys have anybody that's in the Gen Z on your workforce, put a Z in the chat box. And I'm going to drop like 1,000 of them because pretty much my entire workforce is Gen Z. All right. Guys, their values are slightly different. Okay. They value things other than just money. One of the big changes that we made both at the martial arts school and at GrowPro is we went to unlimited PTO. And what we had found was that they valued that freedom more than they valued making more money. That's not saying that they don't value making money, but the freedom, and this was just from surveying our team. Now, a digital marketing agency can be done remote, right? An instructor, that can't really be a remote position, right? Unless we're talking, we're going to go back to doing Zooms, which I'm pretty sure every single one of you would be completely okay if you never had to teach another martial arts Zoom class. I think we're at, Ms. Woods is like, no, I am not doing that, right? So why did we still implement this in the martial arts school? Well, our martial arts school, we closed down a week for July 4th. We closed down a week for Christmas. We're closed down on all federal holidays as well. And we implemented it this year. And these are actual stats. My head instructor requested 2 additional days off, and my program director requested 3. That's it. And they have unlimited PTO. I know Stephen uses unlimited PTO. We told our team that this was something we were testing and we will reevaluate year after year. The highest person for my GrowPro team took off 14 days. And I think the lowest was at like 2 days for the year. Am I sitting here saying this is something you need to implement? No, but I'm giving it as an example that as I saw my workforce changing and understanding what they value, that changed the structure of our company as well. Okay. Yes, Miss Jen, all full-timers, they get paid. And there's a little asterisk because it says it's got to be approved. Right. So it might not get approved. All right. But it is a very attractive offer when people are looking for jobs. And ideally, I think if we all had the opportunity to hire within, right? Hire that kid that started with you at 8 and now they're 18 and this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives. Yeah, I mean, that's the ideal scenario. I'm curious, have any of you ever hired, whether it was a program director or an instructor, outside of people that you have built? Put a yes or a no in the comments. Maybe you found them through a friend. All right, see a mix here. We got some yeses and we got some nos. Okay. Jamie says, I was hired outside of my place. All right. And again, like I said, the ideal scenario is obviously somebody that's come up through your, program in your ranks, but there might be a day where you have to find somebody and that can't really hire the 14-year-old. Child labor laws are going to go into effect, right? Okay. So it's just something I want to put on your radar, is that as the years go by, you're going to have more Gen Z families coming into your facility to sign up their kids and maybe themselves. And really, your workplace hires are going to be heavy in that as well. Okay, so it's just something to keep in mind. Next up, and I put a post about this on Monday, AI-based content automation. Okay, we have seen some huge improvements. I know Miss Tammy doesn't like talking to chatbots, but there have been huge improvements in chatbots. I'm sure you guys have seen all the really cool AI pictures that people are sharing. I know Steven posted his. I know Miss Hamlin posted hers. I posted mine as well. And I also talked about in the post about this open AI chat GPT. And Steven, I want to get your thoughts on it as well, because this is very much the world we live in. But basically, there is this AI writing tool that you can ask it a question or tell it to do something, and it does it. And it does it with some pretty insane accuracy. And I gave a couple of examples. I asked it to tell me what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was. I asked it to write a poem. I asked it to write a song about karate. But let's talk about, how could you actually use this in your business? For me, I think it's great for writing social media posts, especially if you are just not a super creative person, right? Maybe that's just not a strength. Maybe writing and reading in English class just wasn't something that you really enjoyed. You can literally ask it to write a social media post that talks about the benefits of martial arts for a 5-year-old, okay? So I think for social media, it's great. I think it can also be helpful for writing emails as well, and also helping prompt responses for team members. Maybe there's an upset parent that sent an email and they're really struggling with, how can I showcase empathy, but also have great customer service, written into the email. What I will tell you is, do not do this for any SEO purposes. So do not do this to write the content on a website. I would not do this to write a blog. And the reason is that these chunks of information that is coming out, they're actually tokenizing it. And what that means is that Google is going to be able to know whether or not a human wrote it or the AI machine wrote it. So that, I think, is something really important, because I think people really dislike having to do long form content, which is blog related. And they know that, hey, this could, really help my positioning on Google. But there's already tons of articles coming out saying, do not use this for SEO. I don't think this is going to completely replace us, guys, at least not in 2023. You are going to continue to be an important aspect of the content creation in your marketing for the foreseeable future. But you can use this to enhance, but it doesn't mean that it's replacing. Steven, thoughts on this? I know some people are saying, this AI is super scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tool, right? It's a tool that we can leverage, but it's not going to be the thing that replaces, whatever we're trying to do here. I did see a gentleman named Jude Grayson, who runs an ETA school, made a post about this and had a really cool idea on how he's using it. Definitely suggest that you guys go to his profile and check that out. I think it was 4 days ago, but pretty much his idea was he likes to write welcome posts in his Facebook group every time they enroll a new student. And he utilized the AI tool to create a welcome post he puts in the student's name and it spits out actually like the meaning behind their name, which I thought was really like insightful and added really great personalization rather than doing like just a generic welcome post. But yeah, definitely check out that post. I see Mr. Matt White here in the chat checked it out and said it was a great post. So yeah, that's just one great idea on how you can use that OpenAI chat to to generate text for you. But yes, I do agree, definitely not great for SEO. My limited use of the AI tool that we're talking about here, I did see that it kind of would repeat content. So it's very possible that you ask it to create something, another school owner asks it to create something, and it comes back with something very similar. So, that's where things get a little bit hairy when it comes to creating blog posts or website content, where you don't want things to be exactly the same. So yeah, it's a really interesting tool. I think it's a lot of fun. Definitely some really great use cases. Just have to be really creative with it.
Yeah, and what's really cool is you can like almost interact with it. So maybe you ask it to, put this post, and then you say, well, I want you to focus more on this aspect versus this, or I want you to add in emojis every single line, and it'll spit back whatever that request is. So definitely something you should play around with. We did a training here for our GrowPro team on how we could utilize this in our business as well. But I absolutely love what was said here was in terms of like grammar. Like maybe you're not great, putting together emails with proper grammar, or maybe you have somebody on the team that maybe English isn't their first language, and this could help them with that. Again, it's a tool to enhance. It's not a replacement. All right. So think about, ways. I think predominantly, like I said, social media posts. This will be great for writing emails and helping prompt school owners' responses. Okay. Next up, personalization is the key to their heart. Okay. The brand that wins the heart is the one that especially Gen Z is going to choose. And personalization is a great way to do this. Many of us have been utilizing personalization through custom values and emails and text messages, which are great. But there, is another way to level that up. And Stephen and I talked about this on stage together, but there's a platform called Nifty. And it was actually really cool. Stephen, you had sent this email. So Stephen got an email from some marketing company, and I thought it was such a great idea that we're going to do it as well. But he got an email with, there was a picture, and there was a girl on the desk, and she had 2 cups of coffee like this, and it had her name superimposed on the cup of coffee and Stephen's name superimposed on the cup of coffee. And that is automated. It's not like they're sitting there writing on a cup of coffee for every single person that they send that out to. If you've ever booked a marketing audit with GrowPro, I'm standing pointing at a TV, and your name will pop up on the TV that we're super excited to see you. We do this for our clients. We have instructors stand in front of a whiteboard, and the name comes up on the whiteboard. Okay, so these kind of small levels of personalization, something we have done for so many years is whether you have like a sidewalk chalkboard, or you have a white dry erase board, when people come in for intros, or maybe you have a lobby TV, if you want to be tech, you have their names show up on that white dry erase board, or on the sidewalk chalkboard, or on the TV. It's just another level of personalization that really just provides a wow factor. And that, that's really important to a lot of people. So in my opinion, the brands, the companies, the business owners that really lean in into personalization are going to beat out the ones that don't. So think about how you can do that. Nifty is the platform that you can superimpose people's names onto images. Okay. These kind of next two go hand in hand, and everyone wants more customers, but what about keeping the ones that you actually have? And providing a fantastic customer experience is the best marketing you can do. Many of you that started many years ago, before digital marketing even came on the, came up as a resource that you could use, when you ask school owners, how'd you grow? They just said word of mouth. Right? Like word of mouth is how we grow. And word of mouth can get you to a certain level. It absolutely can. Okay. And that word of mouth continues to spread based off of the customer experience that you are providing. So how can you provide world-class customer experience? I did a podcast with Mr. Blake Harris. He's a 7-figure school owner. He does over 7 figures in one location, no after school, no summer camp. And one of the things that they do is for every single intro appointment that comes in, there is somebody that opens the front door for that appointment. There's literally somebody standing by that front door waiting for them to come in, and they hold the door open. I know schools that will have extra umbrellas so that if it's raining outside, they'll have the assistant instructors go out and get the kids or walk the parents to the car, right? That is world-class customer experience. And when you focus on building that positive business culture and providing great service, the marketing is almost takes care of itself, almost, okay? The other aspect of this is employee activation. And what I mean by employee activation is having the employees be the face of your brand. It shouldn't just be you. Their interactions with your students, whether that's digitally through email or in the Facebook group, whether that's face-to-face, this is a key part of your marketing strategy. This is one of the reasons anytime a Maya client wants to open up a second location, what we tell them is one of the benchmarks that needs to occur in order for that to happen is you cannot step foot in your school for 30 days, and you need to see if your school grew or not. Because it's one thing to not just be teaching the classes, but actually still being in the building because your face is still there versus you not being in the building at all. And that's what I mean by this employee activation. We need employee engagement to improve customer experiences, okay? And just focusing on the customer retention, loyalty, and advocacy. Dan Kennedy, OG marketer, he says the business that pays the most to acquire the customer wins, right? So if Steven and I both had marketing agencies and he could pay $500 to acquire a customer and I could only pay $499, he's gonna win, okay? But in my opinion, the business that cares the most about the customer wins in the long run. Okay, studies have shown that it costs 5 times as much to attract new customers. So happy customers make great and free brand ambassadors. If this is not a term you are currently using in your school, brand ambassador, you need to. You need to equip your families to be brand ambassadors. We actually have a brand ambassador program. So if they go on social media and check in, if they leave a Google review, if they leave a Facebook recommendation, and they refer a friend, they become a brand ambassador. And we have a shirt that says brand ambassador that you cannot buy. And one of the coolest things that we do is we leave it in the pro shop. And we have parents come up all the time like, oh, how much is that shirt? And we say, oh, it's actually free. Do you want me to let you know how you can get it for free? And we tell them about our brand ambassador program, okay? So excellent service truly is its own marketing strategy as well, okay? So think of how can we level it up just 1%, okay? Miss Jen says, I love how Blake Harris also embroiders their name onto the gis. Yes, my Taekwondo school did that as well. Above our Master's Club patch, they embroidered our name. Mr. Munden, you've generated a lot to think about. Thank you, sir. And hopefully I generate a couple of items that everybody will take action on as well. Next up, have you integrated online and offline? And we're almost done here, guys. So thank you so much for staying focused. So how are you integrating those online and offline experiences? Do you have an app for your school? Do you have an online curriculum portal? Is it easy to make purchases? If somebody wants to buy, you know, a t-shirt, if somebody wants to buy a hoodie, if somebody wants to buy private lessons, if somebody wants to buy a birthday package, if somebody wants to sign up for your parent night out event, is it easy? Okay. Are you leveraging QR codes? So I did this post on November 29th. Check this out. QR codes. Besides Google reviews, what are other ways you're using them in your business? Let's get some ideas below. Guys, there were 38 ideas that were given. This post alone is a gold mine on how you can implement QR codes into your school, which helps to integrate online and offline customer experiences. Okay. One of the things that we did at our school, and this is a little dated, I guess, but just kind of to show you that we've been at this for a minute. When that selfie song came on, we made a ninja selfie station at the academy, and we bought props, and we put like dollar store props in a little bucket, and all the kids after class, guess what they wanted to do? They wanted mom and dad to take a picture at the selfie station. And then the parents would post it online. It was free marketing for us. So you got to think of, how am I integrating online and offline marketing? Okay. Video marketing, we've already touched on this. Short content is here to stay. You're seeing a huge increase in YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts are actually, they're going to start letting people monetize it the same way that they monetize their videos on their channel. Videos give you higher quality leads. If you are sitting there saying that the leads are weak or the leads are garbage, I'm going to ask you, are you putting videos in your campaign? Okay. Most school owners aren't willing to take that extra step of literally holding the phone for 60 seconds and talking directly in it. It needs zero video editing. Okay. But if you are struggling with online lead quality, one of the fastest ways you can increase that online lead quality is through a video. The person that sits there and watches that video and then opts in is going to be further along in that customer journey. Okay. Influencer marketing, but I'm not talking about, the scantily clad woman on Instagram posting pictures of her butt. Okay. I am talking about the parents and the adults in your school that have a big following in your community. I'll use an example. There's a woman, her name's Amanda Lopez. She oversees one of the top private schools that is located in a close enough distance of our academy. And she is like the head of the PTA. She has literally signed up she's referred more than 20 families to our school. She's one of our top brand ambassadors. Okay. So think of, who are the people in your school that have large networks, and is it possible to get a testimonial? Is it possible to get a case study from them? All right. There was this company, and I'm pretty sure it's still around. It's called Causley. And they have this program called Sweat Angels, where basically every month there is a different charity that they donate to, and it's based off of the number of check-ins that you get at your school. So you sign up for them, and they send you this little digital like TV that automatically gets updated with the charity of the month. And it'll say like, for every 10 check-ins, we are going to donate to, we're going to donate for kids to get shoes. All right. And it's a really cool company. We used them prior to COVID. And then once COVID happened, we ended up canceling. And now I'm thinking about bringing it back. But it's utilizing the people in your facility and motivating them to market for you. Okay. So I know when you think influencer, you're thinking of like, again, somebody with hundreds of thousands of followers online, but those followers aren't in your community. Who could be the influencers that are inside of your school every day? Social media will become more of a customer service tool. How many of you have parents that reach out to you via Facebook message? And how many of you like that? I don't. I have this love-hate relationship with Facebook Messenger, okay? It's going to become more and more normal for people to ask for things through, and even, I'm not just talking about your business profile, I'm talking about your personal profile when you are friends with them. And, if you want to say, no, that's a hard no. The only way you can communicate officially on, official business is via email. You can set that up. But I'm telling you, people are going to continue to do it, and it's just going to become more and more popular that people are using social media as a customer service tool. Okay. More businesses will leverage search engine optimization. SEO has been here for a while. Your today buyers on Google, your website must be built for SEO. And I do believe there's going to be a lot of people that are trying to use AI, and I think it's ultimately going to tank their rankings. So do it the right way and make sure that you're being consistent with your blogging. Okay. Last up, aligned marketing and sales teams win. I truly believe our industry doesn't have a lead problem. I believe we have an unconverted lead problem. And the team that tracks their numbers meticulously will win. The teams that leveraging 10 plus follow-ups will win. But you got to be tracking it. The teams that are using database reactivation, those are the ones that are going to win, because you're going to be in your prospect's mental Rolodex. So your marketing and sales team, and typically in a martial arts school, that's probably the same person, but they need to be aligned. Case studies are going to continue to drive leads and brand credibility. We just had some awesome videos shot for Grow Pro. We have the Gaylord family here. They've been with us for like 6 years. The entire family trains. We had Amanda Lopez shoot a video as well. She's one of our top brand ambassadors. She trains, her kids train. This is something that you need to be getting done consistently, and you can put these case studies and testimonials on your social media profile. You can put it on your website. You can put it in your automations. They work really well in retargeting ads on Facebook, and it builds credibility, and it's going to ultimately help bring in higher quality leads, just like I told you the short video content will. Okay. TikTok's going to continue, guys, and it's not just a bunch of kids here. Your target market is here. It's going to experience more growth. They are getting better and better with the targeting. So right now, TikTok has DMA, designated marketing audiences, which is basically, it could be like up to a 4-hour radius in your city. Obviously, we don't want to be advertising to people 4 hours away, and there's some tricks that you can do. But the targeting is getting better and better each month with more features. And I think it's just going to continue into 2023. Please remember that attention is the new currency. All right. Attention is the new currency. At one point, it was oil. Now it's attention. And ultimately, if you had to look at, these are the platforms, which ones should I make sure that I'm on? Got it. And Google Business Profile doesn't really fall into social media, but it is an online platform. Got to have that laid out. Then Facebook, then Instagram, and then YouTube and TikTok. Okay. I think Twitter, depending on which side of the fence you're on, it is making a huge comeback. They're making a lot of changes. It's not something we have ever really focused on for our martial arts school, but it's kind of just sitting there in the back of my head, seeing what types of changes that they're making over there. And then the basics done savagely well. None of this new stuff matters, guys, if you don't have the basics in, right? You're not doing a flying armbar if you can't do a regular armbar. So those are the top 15 trends that I see happening in 2023. Now let's talk about your calendar. Most of you have an event calendar. What you don't have is a marketing action calendar. So this is what we do. We get this at a glance. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Office Depot. And I've got like 3 slides left and then we're done. Every single month, there's got to be a revenue generating activity, a retention generating activity, and a recruiting generating activity every single month. And you're going to map it out on this big dry erase board. Why do I like the dry erase board? Well, because I can erase it and move it. And I can also use different colors to categorize what we're doing. Okay. Once we map everything out on this calendar, we transfer it to Google. Okay. And we use Google Calendar to hold everybody accountable. Once the events is the easy stuff, right? One revenue event. Okay, in January, we are going to do a challenge seminar, 3 hours. It's going to be an hour of boxing, an hour of jiu-jitsu, an hour of wrestling. We're going to charge $40 for it. There's your revenue event. We're going to do a retention event. We're going to do a community event on goal setting through board breaking. Okay, that's our recruiting event. And then we're going to do a retention event. We're going to do a parent night out lightsaber event. Okay, what I don't want you to do is say, we're going to do a lightsaber parent night out. We're going to let the first 10 people bring a friend, and we're going to charge for it. So that one event gets to count for recruiting, retention, and revenue. That is the lazy way to go around it. 3 events on that calendar every single month. And that's where most school owners stop. This is what next level school owners do. They put the marketing actions that are required to make that event a success on their calendar. So if you are doing a challenge seminar, this is for your students, right? You're going to market to your students. Anytime we do 4x4 printouts and we hand them a physical copy of whatever the event is, our sign-ups skyrocket. But you got to make the graphic. You've got to print the graphic. You got to go pick it up, and then you've got to hand it out. And that's a lot to remember just for one event, just for one aspect of the marketing. So the print marketing, if you're doing phone call follow-ups after a community event, when do you want your instructor to start making those mat chat announcements to the students about the challenge event? All of this needs to be documented, because how else are you going to hold them accountable? We also put our online marketing actions on that Google Calendar. When are social media posts going out? When are blogs going out? Are there any checkout pages that we need to make? Are there specific ads that we want to run for a particular month? When does email number 1 about graduation ceremony go out? When does email number 2 go out? When does email number 3 go out? I can guarantee you all of us have been in a scenario where we come in on Monday and we're like, oh, we have that parent night out on Friday and we haven't really done anything for it. Set your team up for success. And if you want to be an offsite owner like I am, this is how I hold my team accountable. All of it is on our Google Calendar. It's color coordinated. So this is already done for January. It's got all of our meetings on here. It's got even when we have to do inventory and orders and when we need to, go do a BJ's run, it's on the calendar. How do I know my team does it? Because they take it from this color and then they gray it out. And once it's grayed out, that tells me they know that it's done. And this has been by far the absolute best way that I have found to keep my team accountable on the marketing actions. You can put the event on the calendar all day long, but what about all the marketing actions that need to occur? Okay. This is one of those. It's probably going to take you a few hours to transfer from the dry erase into the Google Calendar, but guess what? You don't have to do it ever again for the rest of the year. And maybe doing it for the entire year seems super overwhelming because maybe you haven't been planning and organizing. Just start with the first quarter, okay? There's only been one time that I completely regretted doing this for the entire year. Does anybody know what year that was? It was 2020, because all of the work that we did and all of these things that we had planned, we could no longer do, okay? So how do you grade it out on Google? Yeah, great question. So you just click on the item. So if I go into my Google Calendar over here, I can literally just click on it. And if you edit, it'll allow you to pick whatever color you want. So you can just gray it out from there. Okay, great question. All right, guys. Hopefully you had a couple of top takeaways I asked throughout for you guys to engage. Thank you for doing that. My ask to you is I just want to be in your mental Rolodex. So if there's a time that you want to outsource your marketing, my ask is, hey, just come to GrowPro and give us a shot to do a free marketing audit and a discovery call. We've got, was there a link for the scorecard? Can we get a link for the PDF? Guys, you know the answer to that. When have I ever said no? So here is the scorecard. There's your scorecard, the link, the PDF. Yes, so when we email the replay, you will get a link to this PDF, which also has the scorecard link in it and the workbook. Ms. Hamlin, do it. You won't regret it. Thank you. Mr. Holly, recommend GrowPro. Shannon, definitely use GrowPro. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Amazing info. Thanks for keeping me engaged on a long, boring drive. Awesome. Shout out to Steven. Thanks for popping on and sharing some of your wisdom. Guys, it's officially separation season. All right. We've got, 14, 15 days left at the month. Get this done. Get your team members on board so you can literally put your company on rails and take off in 2023. All right. Got a couple more message. I use you again. Miss Walzog. Yeah, so this is a great question. I want to use you guys, but we seem to keep running into geographical conflicts with our 6 locations. So we offer location protection. This is important to know, guys, if you're ever hiring a marketing company that's running ads, right? Other things like CRMs, websites, not so much, but with running ads, this is important. You are competing against the other businesses that are vying for the attention of the audience you want. So let's say your school is here and across the road, there's another school. If we take on both of you as clients, what's going to happen is we are bidding against each other with Facebook ads and with Google ads. So if we did that, guess what happens to both of the clients' results? It's much more expensive to get leads because they're competing against each other. So because of this, we offer a 5-mile radius protection. So we will not run ads for a school that's within 5 miles because it's just going to hurt both of you. So just from like a result standpoint. So we actually had somebody reach out today. He's got 5 locations. We're available in those 4. Well, let us rock it for your 4. And, we could make a recommendation on where else to look for that 5th. But that is something that, to me, it's just the right way of doing business, because we lose a lot of business because we already have that territory taken. But if we took both of you on, both of you wouldn't end up getting great results. So unfortunately, it makes my company less profitable, but it makes you guys more profitable if we are available there. Okay. All right. Thanks for the info. Juiced up for next year. Guys, let's do it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. We'll get the recording out here in a couple of hours. I'm so grateful for you being on live. And if you need me, midgettwister@gmail.com. It's basically the greatest email ever created. midgettwister@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. It's my BJJ fight name. Unfortunately, you don't get to pick your fight names and your nicknames, and that's what I got stuck with. So it's a great conversation starter. Please shoot me an email if you need help with anything at all. And I hope everybody has a great day. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.